Okay, so Bob and I have done the implementation of the new reading time feature, but good practice mandates that somebody should review what we've done. Normally, what you would do is now you would create a pull request, you would basically push this PR to your Git repository, and you'll have a colleague going through that and reviewing your code. While this is certainly still relevant for things like knowledge sharing and the like, it can become a bottleneck. And wouldn't it be nice if I had a reviewer right in my IDE that actually provides a first level of review and findings that I then can address before actually creating the PR? And guess what? Bob just has that. I can now type in review, which is one of our so-called built-in / commands. And what Bob is now going to do, Bob will look at the files that have been changed in my repository. I first need to switch to advanced mode to be able for Bob to look at these file diffs. Bob will look at the diff, but not only at the diff, it will look at the full files and see whether there are things that could be improved or whether there are other issues. This is another example of our shift left proactive mentality that we want to do with Bob, so that both for code that Bob produced and code that you produced in collaboration with Bob or your own code, that you are able to get a first level review of that code, be able to address findings before you push the PR. And essentially what this means is that your colleague who is then doing the human reviewer has less work, hopefully, because some of the things that he or she would find you already addressed in the IDE. So Bob go through, basically these are all files that have been changed, and is starting to prepare these findings. So you see here in the to-do list, basically with the full context of the modified files, it reviews the logic for things like edge cases, security, accessibility concerns, checking the test coverage, so all things that you would expect from a good reviewer, including adherence to project coding standards. So what has happened is that Bob is going to show these in a dedicated view, the so-called Bob findings view. In that view, you actually see both, you see review findings, and you see quite a few of them, as well as some other findings that that Bob has found, for example, security findings. But let's focus on the review findings right now. So you see here, I can basically have these review findings here. I can sort them by type, by severity, by category. So by type, you see here, these are these review findings. Let me go back to by file. And for each finding, I basically get an explanation. I have the opinion to basically to go to the location. For example, here, matching number 200 should be a name constant. I can go to the location in the code. I can actually then also go ahead and investigate and improve the code in chat. Let me just do this right now. So this is of course a small finding here with these 200. But you see here there are others basically about regular expression patterns, about things like CSS class naming and things like that. So you see here it has basically completed this, and it already then basically put this review finding as resolved. So I can go through these review findings, I can come back to them as well later, and basically resolve the ones that I find relevant before I actually create the PR.